Daddy, Inches Bitch podcast. That was a special request from Dominik on the Ooh Daddy part. He really enjoys it when he listens back for the editing part. We have Tony Sawyer here today on the podcast.
Welcome. Excited to be here.
How are you? Got your little glass that we made you? Your little gift from us?
Bitch.
Inches Bitch.
Appreciate it.
Whiskey glass? Don't know if you're much of a whiskey guy or.
Oh, that's like my main thing.
Oh, yeah?
Well,
Oh, look at that.
Like
now you got a
Coke.
glass to perfectly drink it out of.
It's usually, my go-to.
Always remind you of us, too.
Hell yeah. Inches bitch always on my mind.
Guess number 2.
Guess number 2.
How does it feel?
Feels good. I'm excited. I was telling you earlier about how I remember like last year you came up to me and you're like, I want to do a podcast.
And you're like, this fucking
I'm
guy.
like, yeah. I'm like, fucking okay.
What else?
Like it fit your like personality, but I was like, okay. And I was like, well, what are you going to talk about? And he was like, I don't know. And he was like, well, what's something that's like on your Amazon? Pull up your Amazon right now. And I pull it up and he's like, show me your like saved list. And I showed him. He was like, why'd you want that? And I was like, oh, because of this and this. So we started talking about it. And he was like, see, that's what we talk about, things like that. And I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, that's damn. All
We
right.
went on for 20 minutes.
Did you really?
I don't know.
We talked like a little bit, but it was
Yeah.
just like I didn't actually expect. I thought it'd just be like, oh, I don't know. But then he's like, no, we'll just like do this, and it's like, all right, he's creative. I think he could do it. Get it going.
So
And
you
here we are.
approve of this setup?
That was a good. I really like the table. You guys did a good job.
Anything you like in particular?
In particular, I like the bullets. I think when I first saw it, I thought it was like a picture. I don't even know why. I didn't actually realize it was actual bullets. So that was really cool. And the lights are dope.
We were worried because this gets hot as it cures,
Mm-hmm.
and this guy was thinking that they were gonna go off.
You never know.
Yeah,
Stranger
you
things
never know.
happen. So I looked at the average temperature of what epoxy gets to, and then I looked at the temperature that it would take for a firing pin to actually kick, and I said, okay, fuck it, do it.
And we did
And look, I
Just don't do it on a hot day.
like
If
guns.
It's a hot
Yeah,
day.
right. I like guns. I'm in for all of it. Just when he was just sitting there dropping them all in, and there's like 8 pointing at me. I'm like, dude, that's it. Like,
Yeah.
there's no hospital trip at this point. That's it. It's gone.
Probably
Like,
no slamming too. I feel like you might if you hit the pin.
Yeah, luckily we poured some epoxy first, then I confirmed temperatures, and then he just started dropping them in, and I'm like, I swear to God, if one of these go off, it's coming right for me. That's it. I'm gonna die in his basement. That's not the place I wanted to die.
You died doing what you love though.
No, it was not. I didn't have a drink. I didn't have a cigar. I didn't have pussy.
We would have been the second person to die in this house.
Yeah,
Shit.
except this one would have been your fault.
Wait.
Tony looked confused. You want to tell the
Yeah,
story?
there's like you kind of skipped over that one.
Oh yeah,
I already know the story,
We had
so-
a guy die in
When you say we, wait, what?
Him and his wife.
My family.
Yeah.
We had
Okay.
a guy that kicked the bucket
Older gentleman kicked the bucket.
a year and a half ago
Oh,
upstairs.
I'm sorry to hear that. It's never easy to deal with or fun to deal with.
Yeah, interesting.
Especially in your own house. Wait, so what is that? What is that like? Did you have to call? What's like the
Yeah,
next
you
step?
call 911.
Call 911.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
just
yeah.
call the
And then
coroner?
we explained what
'cause
happened. That
yeah.
he went upstairs the day before. We had ice cream, Chinese,
Uh,
and then he wouldn't wake up. We didn't even check on him. We
Mhm.
figured he was sleeping in.
yeah.
Went to Costco, came back. Wifey went upstairs, started screaming.
Oh.
I
that
ran
sucks.
up. He was cold and blue. Called the cops.
Jesus.
300 pounds.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't know how they dragged him down. They told us to wait outside,
That's a big boy.
not to listen to any of the noises.
Cracking and
And then there it was
Oh.
gone.
he had a body cracking and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Ugh.
Jesus.
Did he shit himself?
I
guarantee
don't
it.
know.
I bet he did.
I don't know.
Look, everything
Maybe.
that dies shits and pisses itself.
Well, not when we were there.
It's just like I'm thinking of like, well, what questions could I ask that like wouldn't be like crazy personal, and then he's just like, so, like, did he shit himself? Like,
But I touched his hand. It was cold.
Yeah,
Weird.
that's messed up.
I still remember. But there you go.
scarred you a little
Cool
bit.
story.
That's something that I feel like that would be something that you like sticks in your mind.
It does. It did for a year.
Yeah.
Every day.
It'd be hard to just like let that one go.
Do you use the bedroom?
Oh, yeah.
See, that'd be the weird part.
I repainted it.
I could probably get over the whole like touching and
Mhm.
that person, but being in that room after the fact, that'd probably weird me out more.
Yeah, but I feel like if you like if you painted it, you're taking the essence away.
That would mask the
Take-
death
Yeah,
ghost.
well, like because like I feel like because we're like visual, and so then we see if we were like if he saw the dead body and then he saw it and then
Yep.
he realized it and then it's like okay, this is like a blue room. Your mind is like, oh, when you're in this blue room,
yeah,
but then if you make it green or whatever the hell, then
Is it
it's
the
like
same-
you're taking that away.
I can see that. Is
Yeah.
it the same bed set?
No, everything's out.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
I would do
Everything
the same
gone.
thing,
Yeah. So yeah, that'd be the different part too, though. So I get the background or the whole idea of that, but if it was still the same bed set, same dresser,
Yeah.
same carpet, that whole ambiance, that's what
Mhm.
I was getting at. Not just the
Same
fact of being
bed.
in the room.
It's like why you throw out a good bed?
Did you donate it?
Everything's gone. But the first few weeks, I had chills going upstairs, which is weird because I don't
Yeah.
believe in ghosts or Jesus. But still,
Yeah,
but
Mm.
now I'm back to normal.
that's good.
We all die at some point now.
Yep,
Mm.
So
That'd be weird.
we went off topic again.
that's okay. We're just
No, I had that dead bodies. I had that.
just plain Jane conversation to roll us through this.
I thought we were gonna roll over it somehow, like and get to it.
So yeah,
Yeah. Well, Tony had between Tony and Dominic, they kind of came up with the basis of the conversation for today, which would mainly be
Well, kind of just like I was thinking, just talk about the society we live in today and just the fun little, hard to talk about topics about it, and they don't have to be like we don't have to like dive crazy deep into things. But
Of course
just,
we do.
like, well, we probably will. But like things like we could talk about things gender related things like I don't know. I feel like abortion. Guns. We kind of agree a little bit on. I don't know if we want to deliberately go after the biggest disagreements because those ones are fun.
with
but-
guns.
Hmm?
With guns.
With guns, I'd like probably mostly agree. With guns, my position would be, like you can have them. Most people can have them. Like you just have like good regulation behind it.
Which is what?
So like if you have a history, any like violent history of anything, it probably disbars you from being able to have a gun.
is that charge related or just doctor related?
And that was the next thing. So that'd be.
Meaning that if they got in trouble for it and it physically went to court or anything like that, is that what you're considering to be?
That's probably the bar that you'd have to set at the
Right.
minimum.
at the minimum.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, like, cause I fully, I'm trying to be practical. Like, I know that things are gonna slip by. Like, you're not
Right.
gonna catch everybody.
Yep.
Um,
But what if it was Dr. Looney Tune related? Do you agree that they should have one?
Dr. Looney, what do you mean, Dr. Looney?
Guy or woman goes to the doctor.
Mhm.
They're diagnosed to just be a loony of some
Yeah.
nature.
Yeah.
Where there would be no comfort level of any doctor or psychiatrist underneath the sun to allow that person to withhold a firearm.
Yeah, probably not.
So that would really be your minimum bar or your level tiered bar of understanding how to get a license for
I get what
it.
you're saying. I don't know. I feel like that's one of those where if you have like some type of, there'd be some gray area. So you're gonna have to probably maybe you'd have to come up with like a list of criteria of like here's like the 5 or 3 to 5 things that you have to hit to be able to like have a gun.
Yep.
And so instead of like basing it on the restriction, it's like this is where you're allowed or where you have you can enable this right.
Yeah.
And like it encompasses most people, and there's some people that like maybe should be able to get a gun that don't or can't, and then there's people that like shouldn't get a gun that could. But I feel like if we want to have guns in society, that would be the only
Yeah.
true way to do
I
it.
haven't bought a gun in a couple of years, so I don't remember all the paperwork
Mhm.
fully. But doesn't it ask felony only?
I don't
Or if
know,
you're
do-
wanted?
Do you run your background?
Well, I think they probably just look at any, like if you have any amount of charges.
No, yeah. That's when it comes to the check itself.
Mhm.
You have to physically fill paperwork out now based on a computer or tablet, and it's are you a U.S. citizen? Are you of the age of 18? Are you right? Confirm your address or put your address in. What's your FOID card license number? But I want to say it's are you wanted for a felony or are you in the court of law or could you be in the court of law coming in the near future? Things like that.
Oh yeah, where it's like, have you been charged or are you
Right.
expecting to be
Yeah,
charged?
yeah. Yeah. They ask you some of that stuff on there.
I feel like a felony probably should. I feel like if you're hitting felony levels, I mean, you can maybe make an argument for like specific felonies, but I think like felony should probably disbar you.
Yeah.
And then like even if it's a like a domestic, I'm sure there's like misdemeanor domestic battery type of charges that like maybe that's kind of a case by case.
See, that's hard though too, and reading whether it's news or watching some courtroom footages of something or somebody getting charged for some of that stuff, and then 10 years later it got proven wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, how's that fair?
Yeah.
Well, one, the jail time and loss of life and loss of the time that you've had on this earth, but it's like, well, fuck, you could have just been free. Or let's say you did get charged and you're on house arrest or something, or whatever stupid things that can come along with it.
Mm-hmm.
You still can't have your gun now because of a bullshit thing. And if they don't do it quickly enough, or let's say it took them a year and a half to get it out of the system, you're still sitting around not being able to buy a gun. Because every single time you apply for it, it gets kicked back because they didn't take that off your record. Wrongfully accusation, but the state or whoever, the federal government, has yet to take it off your record. It kind of sucks for that person too.
Yeah. I think what I would say is, in Tony's perfect world, you would have a society that's based on, when you look at like the punitive system, that's based on trying to make people better as opposed to just like punishing. So then if you have someone, it would be a weird, I'd have to think about the argument more.
You got to start already, huh? You got to start already, huh?
What do you mean?
Start a war.
Just trying to make people better.
Well,
Some people are just fucked up and psychos.
Yeah, and those people, like, they have, I'm not saying, like, just make all the jails or make them easier, make them minimum level, but, like, don't just have the focus be on the punishment. Punish people that, like, deserve to, like, if it's a terribly violent crime, but if there's someone that's, like, if it's, like, a misdemeanor domestic charge, like, I would argue that maybe you didn't actually do the things fully of what was said, but maybe there was enough there to where you're unfortunately going to be one of those ones that falls through the cracks. But if we make it not just focus on punishment, to actually like make that person better, and they go through a program that makes them better, like even though it was shitty that they fell through the cracks and but like if we can make them better in the end, then like, yeah, it's shitty, but maybe you're like a little better from it. And that's not going to make it 100% justified, but like there's some benefit to that to try to alleviate you kind of slip through the cracks.
So where do those dollars come into place in the prison to hire those people?
I don't know.
Taxpayers.
Well, yeah, but like I don't know, like from what specific.
Doesn't matter. You're still a taxpayer. So you feel that if they started charging you another $3,000 a year in taxes to pay for a prisoner's physical or psychological health, you'd be okay with that?
Is it something that could be demonstrated over time to be true? Like that they are doing better?
Take it that stats are there, this, that, everything else. It's all proven. For whatever you're going to ask me, it's all proven, and you're just magically getting charged $3,000 more a year in your taxes. Both property and your income tax.
Like total? Cumulative 3,000?
Sure, we can call it that.
Could be 10.
To make a prisoner better.
I think it would have to depend on like how much of my salary that is, and then depending on, I would also, me just being me, I'd want a breakdown of like, okay, like with my taxes, what else is going where? Like, because if that's going to take up, if that's like a, say like a 10% bump in my taxes, I don't know if I, like for 10%, maybe 5%. In like my total taxes, but I also don't know like where's that other from my taxes, where else is that going?
Yeah,
if that makes sense. But like that'd be something important to me, but that's also because that's like something my family went through, and so that's why like me personally. But I would understand why others, where it's like why would I care what other people in jail was?
I think if you fucked up, you fucked up. You deserve to be there. That's it.
You would rather make yourself worse off to make somebody else better?
Well, yeah, like that's how you make in my opinion, that's how you make a good society. Like the best society that you could, if like some people are willing to make certain sacrifices to benefit the greater good.
So is that only based upon somebody that doesn't have life, or doesn't have 30 years and they're 70, or doesn't, or when I'm saying life and 30 years, 20 years, 15 years, that's your sentence. So if they're 70 years old and they got a 15-year sentence, and that guy says, I want to go through this program, you're okay with your dollars and cents going towards that, even though the dude's going to die in prison?
I mean, like, how much of that would represent the total population of people going through it? If it was, like, 50%, then probably not. But if it's, like, 2%, then, yeah. That's like with taxes, like, not taxes, but, not financial aid. What's the word? Where you help people.
Donate?
Not donate, but, like it's, like, government-funded. Like, food stamps, things like that.
Yep.
Like, that overall, like, just doing things like that. I forget the term for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know that there's going to be people that cheat the system, because everywhere you go, there's people that cheat the system.
Yeah.
But, like, compared to, like, other countries, at least the last time I looked, we didn't have, like, a crazy amount in terms of like fraud compared to other countries, and so as long
Countries,
as they're
but states.
Hmm?
I agree with countries, but what about your state? What if every other state didn't do that?
every other state didn't do what specifically
Raise your taxes.
for the jail thing.
Yep.
Well, you probably have to make that state. I don't think you could like federally mandate that. I mean, you could, but like that'd be so much money.
But you don't know you don't know 100% of those people.
Yeah. Yeah, but I feel like that there's potential to like having people continuously go through the system, the recidivism rate, like the amount that they could take if they are put in a better position, like if someone that's like has an addict or like addictive tendencies, if we're able to help a good chunk of those people break that habit, they're going to do better in life, which means they're going to contribute more to like our GDP. Like they're
Already get help.
well,
That's already built into the
yeah,
prisons.
but like good help. No, there's not good help in prisons. Like at least I can only speak for like Illinois and my experiences, but I had family members where I would visit often in like a jail down south in Illinois, and as the time went on, like I saw more things getting taken away. Like there used to be a room where like kids could go and play with like the people that they're visiting, and like they had people there, but then they took that away. Then they took services away. They took like classes away. You used to be able to get like your associates, and now you can't really do that because they took the classes away. And like slowly but surely, it's just like,
you don't understand why they took away a playroom?
well, I can understand from like a business perspective and from
no.
like a longevity.
Nope. Just in general. So they had a playroom or a more public open area for you to visit with that person.
Mm-hmm.
You have no idea why that could potentially be taken away.
Well, no, but it was like in that room again, and I hate kind of just basing it off of like pure experience, but I'm sure there's data for it. But like the room that we were in, it was the same room. You could always go and visit, and then in that room that everybody was in there generally, like there was another room off that with a window with like kids' toys and games and stuff, and like that got like taken away. But like you could still see the room. They weren't using the room for anything. They just didn't use it anymore. They didn't want to pay the people to have to be in there and like have extra eyes on it. Because like if you
Was
open
the
up another
prisoner
room,
allowed in that room?
Yeah, with the kid. You'd
Right.
have to have a kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
What I'm asking you is, why do you think that would be taken away?
If like something happened, maybe
Like what?
like I don't know, like anything bad happening to a kid, any bad harm, negative harm.
Pedophilia, drugs being in the kid's asshole, in the kid's drawers, smuggling it into prison.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there could be countless reasons
Yeah.
of why that would be taken away.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on like
And
how
there is
often-
data to show that.
Yeah, and you would have to look at that data. But I would say that like arguably giving people that are in that position the space to have that interaction and have like good, well-intended interactions and genuine not that it wouldn't be genuine, but like being able to enhance that. The positive of that, you would have to then balance like, okay, well, how many drugs are actually coming through? Is this something? Was it just a one-time thing? Like, and you would have to look at that. So again, it'd have to be location by location. But and if that's what you take away, fine. But then maybe try to find other avenues and other ways that you can. There's always going to be ways to sneak around the system. You just have to find the best one that creates the most good and that creates the least amount of harm. Because there's always probably going to be harm with everything.
So you believe that there is good in every person and they all deserve help, no matter what the cost is?
No, because I'm not that absolute. But like, I think that everybody should have like the benefit of the doubt until proven otherwise.
Okay. So
But then it should be renewed. It should be like renewable over time.
would you rather help a homeless person or a person in jail?
It would probably depend on the circumstances.
In general.
Like you just show me two people.
Yeah. This guy's homeless, this guy's in jail.
How would I be able to help the person? I'm sorry if I'm being pedantic, but like, how would I be able to help either of them?
Your $3,000 rate hike in cost per taxes, both between your check
Who
and
does it
your
go to?
Right. Which one would you prefer it to go to? Which one do you think would benefit better and be better to society in that current situation of a homeless person or a person in prison?
Well, for being honest, probably a homeless person because they're already but like
He didn't do anything criminal.
You don't know that.
But also like
You can't
because
prove that,
if
right?
you look at
Well,
like
you're in jail, you've done something.
But you can't prove it with a homeless person. They might have done something crazy and
yeah.
fucked up, right?
But-
You can't prove that.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
yeah, but like the people that
but if you just base it on two people's pictures, this guy says homeless, this guy says in jail, which
Well,
one would you prefer your
actually-
$3,000 per person per that state to go up and help?
not to be pedantic again, but I feel like it would depend on how they're also getting help. So like if my $3,000 is going towards like a program that just like for the prisoners, it's like education, it's being able to be like maybe a better parent, or it's being able to find jobs, or it's like it helps them like be able to contribute. Once they're out, they can actually positively contribute, and it raises that. Then like I'm probably going to be more for that, especially if on the other side it's like, well, we just want to give like homeless people food, and we just want to keep giving them food, or we want to like raise this. But if it's like on the other end, it's we want to give them, the homeless people, what they need, which would be like housing, proper medical, mental health care, things like that, then it would just, I guess, depend on like that. Like, because I just want to like, where's the most good gonna come out of?
Yep.
So if like the most good would come out of like homeless, then homeless. Like,
Okay. I have a veteran, a homeless guy, and a guy in jail.
mm-hmm.
Which one should the money go to?
That's a tough one.
Veteran,
I think it's still
100%.
well, like all of it.
All of it.
I mean, like if you can't split it,
Can't split it. I'm asking you, there's 3 categories
well,
of
like
people.
it's just a veteran, or is it like a homeless veteran? Like,
Well, most veterans don't have a job. They
Mhm.
don't have a home.
really, like most of them.
A lot of them that have come back from services.
Mhm.
I'm not talking Civil War era and stuff like that, because now there are some out there, but it's a small percentage nowadays because they're all dying off and things like that. But a veteran in Iraq came back. He had no education. He went and fought, blew and lost his leg. All he depends on is his wife, if he has one, and the little bit of money that's going to come out of veteran funds. Mm-hmm. Not from the state, out of people donating out of their own pocket.
Well, I mean, I guess like if you have to like make me pick, it's gonna be hard to like pick. But I don't know. I hate trying to, I guess, skirt around it. But I feel like since I don't think we would have to necessarily do that. Because but it's kind of like with how we would approach something at work, where like you want to pick something that you're gonna be able to do the most good on, and so you do something. I think what's the tool, like a Pareto chart, where you look at like, okay, where's like 80% or like the overwhelming majority of your stuff coming from, and focus on that. So like if it's always probably just going to be driven by data, like where can we get the most? When you bring in veterans, like there is the added I don't want to, when I say emotional, it's not like emotional bad negative, but like there is like the emotional side of like we want to make sure we take care of our veterans. So I would make sure that they get like the special extra treatment, and that they would come, in most cases they would come first in a lot of those situations. But like I don't think then that means that it should only go to them.
So why do we house prisoners, but we can't house a veteran?
I don't know, I would say that we should house almost like anybody that we can. I think that if we have the housing
Oh,
available, and if it doesn't like,
Oh man, you're gonna give me on a rant.
if it doesn't like completely screw over like a local economy to be able to like, and I'm not saying like eminent domain where they're coming in and taking houses and saying, okay, we're putting homeless people in there, but like
the city of Chicago.
But like some amount of like federal funded, where maybe it doesn't have to be like federal funded housing. Well, federal funded housing in the sense of like they're not expected to pay. Like there's a plan that you have to be on to be able to attain like the housing full time, and then be able to jump off. I feel like I'm kind of rambling. I forget the ultimate point I was trying to make.
I don't understand your ultimate plan of what you're trying to make at this point.
I was just saying you should just like house anybody. I think you should house people that you're able, that could like live. Like if they can live in a house and you can like build a plan for them to be able to be on their own, and they're not currently, then we should help them be able to do that.
Okay, so let's just take that specifically that you just stated. A veteran, a homeless guy, and a guy in jail.
Yeah.
Who's that money going to go towards?
It's going to depend on the most good. It's always,
How do you determine that? The guy's in jail.
For a reason.
yeah.
Fucked up.
But like
How is he going to be any better off than the homeless guy or the veteran to be going through a program to get him to a point where he can work and pay back to society and have his house?
Well, because it depends on the data. So like if for every dollar,
There's no data behind this.
You
How
can-
do you feel about a guy coming out of jail because Tony Sawyer feels the need to have him go through a program and then have him kill 25 more people?
well, okay, but if it's like for murder, then like that's what I said. If it's like for serious violent crimes,
I'm not getting into that. I'm only asking you the 3 things. I had to go to the extreme because you're giving all these stupid answers behind it.
Because
I
it's
only
about
want
the
one
data.
answer. There's no data behind
That's
this.
not like a-
the veteran got fucking out of this country, away from his family, his mom, his dad, his brothers, sisters, cousins, whatever it is, fought for us, And magically he doesn't deserve anything? Because the only reason
that's
we're
not
not
what I said.
we're not getting blown up is because of people like that.
Yeah, and I would agree, and that's why I'm saying like you have that special thing that goes towards them, and they should be looked at first. But like, I'm not gonna say that like all the money should. I guess I just don't agree with the preposition of, I think that'd be the word, or like the pretense of like how it has to go to like one person. I don't think like that, because I think of like, well, data, you could split it up. So if like we're able to give this much money to help people, we're going to split it up by like how it could do the most good. And there's ways you can look at like the most good. You can like people like with higher income, you're not just going to look at like higher income is going to do the most good. You're going to look at other metrics, but like higher income or like crime rate or like being able to attack things like that, or either make them better or make good things better or cut down on bad things. Like
But none of that data you're trying to draw or create matters to the answer to this question.
Well, because I don't agree, I guess, with the question. Because, like, I wouldn't say, like, all the veterans should get all the money. I would say that they should be looked at first, but, like, trickle.
That's my answer.
Well, yeah, they should be looked at
That's
first.
the answer.
And
That's it.
But I said that.
No, you didn't.
I said that they should be looked at first because they have the special element of emotion around them.
You didn't say that. Now you've said that.
I'll just have to look back. I'm pretty sure I said that, like, they should be prioritized.
You didn't say that.
Okay.
I would have stopped this conversation then.
Okay. We'll see. We'll go back later.
We will. That's fine. I wouldn't have gotten as drastic with the whole reaction if I would have heard that from you originally.
No, like, I guess if you were to, like, order it should go, like, veterans, homeless people, then people in jail. Because, like...
And then to
There you
break
go.
it down from there, I agree. Maybe you interview the homeless guy. Interview the veteran. Out of those two people, who deserves it more? I'm not opposing to any of those other ideas that might have trickled down from that. But all I wanted was this plain answer.
But it would also, okay, but it would, something I was going to bring up, like, it would matter, like, how far each dollar goes towards. So, like, if a dollar toward, say, you look at the total population of homeless people, and you are able to somehow determine, like, 75% of them, like, if we put this money in, if for every dollar we put into it, we're not going to get nearly as good as an outcome. If we were to go to the jail population and there's actually a higher percentage of people we can help, they're just in a bad situation, or like because of where they grew up. It's not a mental thing necessarily. They just like were in a shitty circumstance. For every dollar that goes there, you're getting more people that are now able to do more good. Then I would say, okay, well then I would put someone in prison over someone homeless, because unfortunately, like, you gotta do it somewhere. You gotta prioritize it, and so then I would say
the homeless
whatever
people
does the most good.
Yeah, homeless people could be 65% drug addicts that probably will never come off of it. And no matter how hard you try, it's probably not worth it. But the data could prove that after, hey, we're going to give this a 6-month trial with homeless people. We're going to give this a 6-month trial with people in jail.
Yeah.
We're going to give this a 6-month trial with people as a veteran.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. There's plenty of different ways we can pull data to create a better spreadsheet or whatever you want to create out of it to show people of what the final result would be and where the best option to start with the dollars and cents that we're requesting from taxpayers now to go towards. But the whole thing was, who would you take priority for? And I would have stopped talking about this a hot minute
I'm sorry.
ago.
I thought I made it clear. If I didn't make it clear, I would want veterans because, like, I mean, and then, like, the other part of me is like, well, then what about veterans that, like, they just did, like, admin work? Like, should that person really, I guess, like, if it's, like, something, if their ailment or whatever is happening to them, if their lack of being able to, like, get back into society is attributed to them being a veteran, then I would say, like, it should go to them. But if it's, like, someone that just kind of did, like, HR work, I'm not going to say, like, I'm not going to respect you.
But most likely they're going to come out with a job.
Yeah,
right.
But so, like, if they're not in that circumstance, I don't think that, like, your time being in HR doing like veteran work,
I agree.
I would say
yeah.
you shouldn't be prioritized necessarily. But then, like, that gets really gray. But
Yeah. And people get upset about it. I served in the military, and I was just a guy that sat around and cleaned guns. A lot of people get upset. Like, that's what I talk about with, you got all these guys sitting on a boat somewhere, and then they just go sit on shore, and 99% of their careers in the U.S. Navy is sitting on a ship just offshore waiting.
But then I would say that, like, that person.
What did you really do?
Yeah. Like, if that person on a boat got, like, if it's, like, a depression or if it's, like, some type of ailment or, like, a mental health thing that, like, wasn't necessarily attributed to, like, their status or, like, what they did. But I still think even then they should take precedence over, like, the other person, the whatever you call them, like a citizen. Like, A
Yeah.
citizen in that same position, that veteran should still get the priority over that citizen.
Yeah.
And that's
At the end of the day, I thank all veterans. I have views upon what you did while you were serving for the country. At the end of the day, you still had to go there and do it.
Yeah.
You still could have been blown up, shot at, because you're still sitting on a base. You're going to be a number one target to get rid of you, kind of thing. Like, at the end of the day, I thank all of them. No matter what you do at the end of the day, or what you did do, I thank all of you. I just have, when somebody says that I was in the Army, it's like, okay, what'd you do? Well, I was just a mechanic. Now, were you a field mechanic? Or were you just staying on base that was back in United States being a mechanic? Well, did you really serve for the country then?
Yeah.
Right? So,
Yeah.
yes, there's...
They did.
You did, but like
They
it's
gave up a chunk of their life
it's just hard
to
to
be
Correct.
working for the army. So they did.
Yeah.
Just because they didn't shoot at anybody or killed somebody or were in war doesn't mean they didn't serve.
You're right. But all we're doing, though, is taking it down to a data standpoint,
Yeah.
right? If you're in HR or if you're a mechanic or something like that in the military, there's probably a 98% chance you're going to get a job when you come out.
Yeah.
But if the guy lost his leg and he can't get a job because nobody even wants to look at him, the data is going to show that these people that have a missing arm, hand, whatever, have less opportunities when they come back home than everybody that did do one of these duties in the military while they were gone. I agree. They all serve for the country. I think every single one of them. Typically, I don't even ask what you did unless it's like a party or a group thing where I'm going to be there for the next 6-7 hours, and it's a conversation starter, right? But if I see somebody wearing a hat, I just walk up to them, shake their hand, and say thank you. I don't start this whole conversation of whatever you did. So I thank all of them at the end of the day. What we're breaking it down to is the data point of it, of who would you start with to give those dollars to.
Like, I
If
think that-
90% of the guys or women that come back with no leg or no legs can't get a job, then we want to make sure that they're ones that we try to help first. Because the guy that was in HR or a mechanic or a teacher
Ownership.
or an instructor, they're most likely going to have a job when they come back because they had a duty in the military besides training and shooting.
Yeah. Like, there should be a threshold of, like, minimal health care that they should be able to get or, like, resources that they should be able to get. But then, like, when that threshold, if I'm, like, literally viewing the fucking spreadsheet or the graph, like, you would have, like, if like, this is, like, the threshold of for the vets, and then, like, this is, like, the top of the people that don't really need that. Or, like, they do need it here, but then they don't really need it here. But then, like, you have the prisoners, they're kind of, or not, the homeless people, they're kind of here. You're probably going to want to help these people, or like the people at the top of the homeless part, before you get to like the bottom of the like the veterans if they don't really need it. Like the money doesn't need to be allocated or accounted for with people like that, because you have to project it and like with your budget. So you shouldn't like take everybody in the army or into all the military into consideration. It should be like with the data, who is actually going to like need it.
Yes.
Based on the data.
That's all we're getting at.
Yeah.
To me, it should be a veteran should be a different bucket,
Just
completely different bucket, because they didn't do anything wrong.
Well,
prisoners
but it's not like a punishment.
I do. If they did anything wrong, they would have been in jail, but they did it.
How do you know they didn't rape somebody while they were
I
in
don't
there?
know, but if they
How do you know they didn't kill just
if-
random people for no reason?
If they did,
You can't say they
but
didn't do
get
anything
caught,
wrong
then
because you
they're-
don't.
they're
That's the
good.
same thing with a homeless person. That's what I made my point to earlier. A homeless person could be a shithead and a druggie, but the guy in jail might be a little bit better.
I think jail.
No, you're wrong.
People in jail shouldn't get anything.
I agree.
Wait. Okay.
If you
Like you
Tony
just have to be in jail so you don't get any resources at
Tony
all.
Sawyer is an adult,
Yeah.
and one day he decides to rob a liquor store because he wants to get some free whiskey.
Wait. Is okay. All
I'm
right.
just-
I'll let you.
Or
I'll
Tony
apply
Sawyer
that.
decides to kill somebody.
Why?
I don't know.
Well, why?
Decides to kill somebody.
Yeah.
Because he had too much.
Well, what if they were trying to like?
something,
What
and
if they
then-
were trying to kill my kid?
Huh?
What if they were trying to kill my
If
kid?
if
Or they're trying to kill
someone's
me?
trying to kill your kid and you kill them,
Yeah.
then you will not go to jail.
Okay. So you're saying? Oh, so you're saying a murder?
You just killed somebody.
I murdered someone.
And if you
Yeah. Well,
decided
at the moment
to,
it was just a killing.
if you decided to kill somebody, you end up in jail.
Until proven otherwise.
Then, because you killed somebody, you end up with whatever years it is. You don't get any help
Mm-hmm.
because that's your punishment.
Yeah.
And when you get out of jail,
Yeah.
then you thought about your mistake
Mm-hmm.
for whatever years it was,
Yeah.
and then you can start working on making yourself better.
Why can't you do that in jail?
because
You
in
already
jail, the jail is your punishment.
Okay. But what if we can get better outcomes by focusing
I
on...
don't give a shit. Then don't kill anybody.
Well, okay, yeah, for murders. But if it's
Yeah.
like you shoplifted... Well, I won't even say
I don't know.
shoplifting.
You go to jail for shoplifting? Do you?
No, you can.
No.
In
What do you go
state
to
of
jail?
California, you can't go to jail till you steal over $1,000 worth of product.
What if you like you commit
You know how fucked up that is.
like credit card fraud or like just different like like non-violent, but like that doesn't mean that you shouldn't get any resources. Like if you could be helped, why wouldn't you want to?
If you're in
Help
jail,
someone.
that was bad enough. So you don't deserve any
You
help.
can go to jail for like pretty petty things.
Well, then we need to work on why people go to jail. But once you're
Yeah, I
in
would agree.
jail-
Maybe we don't have like okay, yeah. So we have a jail for people that are like actually bad, and then we have another system or like another thing for like a more of a halfway thing of like, well, this is the people that like aren't violent and that can actually like get help, and so this is where the money's gonna go.
Maybe.
Probably not a good idea.
What?
Because if you get a bunch of hackers sitting in the same room, they're all going to break out of jail.
Well, I feel like okay, but if you're like that good, you're probably gonna get recruited by the FBI if we're being.
Well, that's just because they're crooked.
But like if but like you're probably not gonna put all the hackers in the same jail, or you're probably
That was your principle behind the statement you just made.
okay, but you got to make it case by case. It's not gonna be like okay, now you have access to like computers. Now, like if you're a hacker, like you're probably going to like look for that. That's gonna be like, all right, we're gonna work on things, but it's all paper. Like we're gonna everybody pull out your pencils.
There's a lot of retarded states out there.
We're okay. All right, we won't get into that one.
I get that you want to help people,
Well,
but they still made a mistake, and they need to
Yeah.
pay for it.
Okay,
And
but
being in jail is paying for it. Once they serve their time,
yeah.
help them out.
You understand you're kind of you could potentially starting to like cut your nose off to spite your face, because if you can show again through data that like if I put for every dollar I put into on average into like this system to help them, and out of that for future GDP they're able to raise their income getting out of jail because they're able to sustain a job, they're not addicted to like whatever they're addicted to if they deal with that. And then they're able to now, if they were doing that, they'd just be in and out of jail or maybe making like 36,000 or less per year, if they're lucky. But then
They make that in jail.
no, they don't.
Yes, they do.
You make sense. You make because people with jail
When
don't
was
have
the last
rights.
time you've looked this data up?
You don't have like rights in jail, like or not. You don't. You have significantly less rights. Like you don't have like a minimum wage.
If you work in the prison, there is a minimum wage, and you make money.
it's like not a lot. It's like
It's not cents.
It's like
This
$1
isn't-
an
This
hour.
isn't the 1970s. This is
Well,
2024.
no, like my relative, she was making.
Okay, how many years ago?
This was 2016.
Fairly recent.
Like
Kind
she was making,
8
I think
years
she
ago.
said, she started at 10 cents, but then she was happy because she got raised to like 13. Like they don't make a lot of money. And obviously it's going to depend on the job, and it's going to depend on what your charge is. It's probably going to depend on the type of job you have and how long you've been there. And it's kind of just like in society, like being outside of it. But like if you put that money into helping those people, and then so like for every dollar you put in 20 years you're able to get maybe $2, $3, $4 more
I
out of that
understand.
GDP, then it's like
Yeah, it's better.
then like why not help them? Because then it's like you're not going to have better GDP, your overall economy is not going to do as well if you could, and it might be marginal, but still like that could, every little bit helps when it comes to that type of thing.
Yeah. So how can we do it so they just don't end up in jail at all? Wouldn't that be better?
$2.25 in the state of Illinois.
$2.25
Minimum wage?
minimum wage.
Nice.
No. The minimum is 30 cents. The high side is $2.25. But that's in correctional state-owned facilities specifically.
Yeah that's and I don't think
And you have nothing else to do all day long.
Yeah,
so
but
you
you're
could
making
make
$2.
$38,000 a year. Because you have nothing else to do.
You don't get to, it's not like
All
you get
you
like
do is
8-hour
work.
shifts. You can't just like call up the sheriff and be like, yo, can I pick up a shift? Like you gotta like
why
it's
not?
you work from like
OT.
maybe 10 to 11 because you're serving fucking lunch, like and that's just your thing, and like you make those $2 or however many fucking dollars, you make $2.
Laundry
and you do
is
that
all
every
day.
Okay, and I'm sure it's like a luxury. I'm sure that's like, oh my fucking god, like that's the best fucking thing you can get, but like that's not gonna be your average.
That'd
And
probably
your
be the
average
last
inmate.
one I'd want to do.
Yeah,
Get hit with a steam line or something like that. Somebody wants to kill you. Fuck that.
But what about...
but if you help them, then there's going to be less people that want to kill you because they're going to be focused on their doing better as opposed to having to live through it and to get through it.
What state do you think is the highest?
The highest minimum wage?
Nope. On the high side for correctional industries inside the prison, what state do you believe is to be the highest?
Like
California.
the highest of the highest?
Yep.
Not the highest minimum.
Highest pay.
The highest that you can get.
No. I don't want the number. What state do you believe gives the highest
I know,
pay?
I'm thinking.
Okay.
California. And then us.
I'd argue California, maybe New York. I'd probably go Democrat because I can't imagine like any Republican state, majority Republican state being like
It's not attached to us.
maybe even like Washington. Is it? It's probably West.
Starts with an A.
Alabama.
Alaska.
Yep.
What?
That makes sense actually. Yeah, with the population,
$4.90.
makes sense.
That's
yeah.
fucking drastic.
Because they probably have like no people. Like
Well,
that.
yeah.
Like
There's no.
you can give
Just let
that.
'em
Like
go.
there's money that you could fucking.
Yeah.
Nobody's saying that.
Let them
Nobody's
go and
saying
save
that.
all your tax dollars. Then you don't have to pay for the facility or the officers.
So what
Or you just put that money into like healthcare workers and people that could like help them and teach them how to live a life. Because like if you like the average person that goes to jail is probably not someone that's like where I'm from, like an affluent suburb outside of Chicago, where like that's probably not gonna be your average person. It's probably gonna be someone that grew up in a lower income area that haven't been taught really how to like take care of themselves. They haven't been taught. Probably don't have like the best education. Like, but like they have capabilities to be like to be like good contributing citizens. But like if you don't teach them how to do it, or if you don't give them a chance, if you keep treating an animal like an animal, or like if you keep treating a person like an animal, they're just gonna keep acting like animals. But if you treat them with like a person, like, or like at least at it like a human, then like they're gonna start acting more like it.
So wouldn't it make more sense to put the money into those neighborhoods to create better people from the ground
Yeah,
up?
if you want to be preventive, yeah,
That's what I was
100%.
thinking.
From the ground up.
Yeah,
Rather than putting it into the prisoner that could be potentially good, even though they had a shit life their whole life.
Yeah.
Why not put it into the communities that deserve it to then prevent those things from happening
Yeah.
in future runs?
Like a good Joe Biden candidate, a good Democratic candidate.
Everybody wants to help people at the end of the
Yeah.
day. Doesn't matter what side you're on.
Yeah, but there's degrees to how much people are willing to help others and what they're willing to give up to be able to help those people. Because it's like, yeah, we can help them, but if you're actually going to take things away from me, like if you're going to change my city codes to, or whatever the thing, like to be able to build shit certain places, like, or build multi-level housing or multifamily housing, like, oh, well, no, I don't fucking want that shit here. Like, oh, you could maybe take a little bit out of my tax. Like, well, no, it depends on like the community you're in, and I would say that Democratic communities tend to be more willing to accept on like that front. Do things that will actually like help the change. Everybody wants to help people.
Yeah.
It depends on what you do. Who do you vote for? Who do you like support? Where's your money go? Like, that's what I would argue matters at the end of the day. And I don't think that Republican dollars.
Nobody stands up as a Democrat and says, I'm going to fix homelessness.
Well, yeah, because you can't just like fix homelessness.
You could in California. Everybody that's working on the plan in California to fix homelessness is making over $300,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
If a Democrat stood up tomorrow for state representative or for the mayor or anybody that's going to be on a board to make a decision, and they stood up and said, I can fix every neighborhood in the city of Chicago to be better, that's your vote just because they can say it?
Well, no, you'd have
Because
to
you
show
still
me how
gotta
you
pay
do
for it.
Yeah, you have to
They're not
show-
going to do that. Nobody pulls up charts when they're running for a candidation. Nobody pulls up charts
Well,
to show you
yeah,
how
but
it's
then you
possible.
also, it depends on like the bills, and obviously just because you propose a bill, that doesn't mean that it's actually going to do anything, because you could just do that literally to say, hey, I tried.
Back up.
Sorry.
You're saying data.
Yeah.
Nobody stands up as a representative of whatever side they're on ever and can pull up a chart to show, here's my 5-year plan. Here's my 4-year plan. Here's
know-
my 2-year plan. Here's my 3-year plan.
They do that in a bill. Like when they propose
in the
a
bill.
Yeah.
How do you get to voting for that person without the data?
you look at the plan that they're talking about at the time. So like if someone's gonna like obviously,
But it's not a bill yet because they can't put a bill in.
And, yeah, but that's the thing. You can't look in the future. Like you have to like take their word on it, and then you look at like, okay, if this is like a career politician, like how many times have they said, hey, I'm going to do this, and then they actually did it, or they didn't actually do it.
But
If
you can't get everything done in 2, 3, 5 years.
Yeah, I would agree.
4. Forgot presidential side. Okay, so maybe they didn't get to it yet. How are you going to hold that data against them?
Well, you're going to look at the opportunities that they had. Like if it's like
You don't know their day in and day out.
like a Trump. I would argue Trump didn't do a lot, but we don't have to like get into that specifically. But he had, just like Obama did, for the first 2 years of his presidency, he had the House and the Senate. He could have proposed bills. He could have gotten shit going. Like, if he had a plan, he could have did it. But then, like, now he's saying, oh, well, like, I couldn't do this because of the Democrats. Or it's like...
That's every president. It's every president that says
well,
that.
depending on the topic. Well, yeah, so, like, Obama probably said,
if Obama's bill didn't end till the end of Trump's 4 years, then he can't do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, yeah, but I'm not, like,
So
talking
he
about
could have talked
specific.
about it, but that doesn't mean he got to it. I'm just using it as an example. I'm not saying
Well, using what
specifics.
specifically?
I'm not. Neither one of us have brought up specifics yet. So I'm just saying it is a general statement. It doesn't have to be Obama and Trump. It doesn't have to be any. I don't care what two presidents it is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what side this one was. What side that one was. It could have been Democrat to Democrat. It could have been Republican to Republican. Those bills, when they get passed, are for so many years. It doesn't matter who the next president is. So they still might have not been able to get to something at that point.
Yeah. Yeah,
Just
and that would be their counter argument. If I was like, well, they couldn't do this, he didn't do this, and then you're like, oh, well, because he couldn't do it that way. It's like, oh, okay. Well, then I'll move on to the next.
But there's no data to prove that.
What do
You're
you
never
mean?
going to see that data.
What
You have no
what do
idea
you
what he's
mean?
doing all day.
What do
Any
you-
president.
What do you mean? Like, I can't prove what? Like that he was able. You look at like the
The
political
president
climate.
stood up, or the state representative, or the mayor, or anybody else that makes decisions like that for your state, your city, your country, and they say, I'm going to do this, and 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 they
Yeah.
go on for fucking hours on how much better they can make this country than the next fucking dickhead.
Yeah.
Let's say they did 3 of them in 4 years. Who's to say they didn't try? That data's not out there. It's not available.
You have to show how you tried. So like
Their
with-
data isn't available,
Okay,
Tony.
okay,
That's what I'm
not-
getting at.
I'm not saying
the
yes.
data
This
is
isn't
unavailable.
Data. I'm not even talking about data right now. It doesn't have to be data.
You
I
said
it'd be
data.
evidence. No, I'm saying like there's nothing there. Like you can look at. You have to. No, I said you have to look at what they've done, like the efforts that they've tried. If they were just like, well, like we're not here to do anything because like the Republicans just won't let us. Like, okay, like what did you do? Did you like form a committee? Did you meet with them? Like, what steps did you take? If you're just gonna sit there and show no effort, then like, okay, no, fuck you. But,
You don't
like,
get any of that anywhere, though.
But you could say that like if like with the obviously there's gonna be
You get none of
talks.
that information when you go to vote. You get none of that.
You seek it out. What do you mean? They tell you. That's what I'm saying. If Joe Biden's like, hey, I wasn't able to do this, I'm sorry.
When does he say that?
Like
When does any president say that?
with what? Like when they're
In general, I don't care if they're
ask
on
them-
a podium.
Reporters ask them these questions all the time. They just obfuscate a lot. But like if it's just like what? Yeah, but like you still have to look at what they did. Just I'm not gonna go based off their answer necessarily. Like, but it's gonna be if you're obfuscating, you're obfuscating. But if you're saying I tried to do this way, not every answer is obfuscation. Like if they ask why weren't you able to do this, well because like we submitted a bill, we did this, we worked with Republicans, we did this, or we worked with Democrats, yada yada yada. We tried, we came to the table. They weren't willing to participate in the democratic process. Then and you could show that it's not just like you're saying this, and they like then okay then
How
you
do
try.
you show it?
By what do you mean? By just telling the people, and then
You don't show it, though. They don't show it.
What do you?
You can. They can stand up there and answer any question exactly the way you want them to answer the question.
Yeah.
You until you can physically see that. How's it proven?
Like,
That they physically did it.
Like okay with Joe Biden, they were asking him when all this immigration stuff started, like, hey, like what are you going to do about this issue? Because Republicans keep bringing it up, and he was like, I'm willing to talk to Republicans. He said like I'm willing to talk to them. They don't want to talk. They were talking about where's the bill at like towards the beginning of last year, end of last year, I forget the timeline. But then he started taking it seriously. It's like, okay, well, here's a bill. And here's an even more conservative bill that we both worked on as not a coalition, but like both parties worked on. Everybody had the committees, and we have like evidence to show that they had these committees. They talked about everything. They went through it. They came up, all right, here's a bill. We went through the talks. Here you go, Republicans. Let's vote for it. And they were like, no, we don't want it. So like that you could show like he tried.
But
the
that happens
Democrats
both ways.
yeah. So you have to look at all the evidence of that. When you're saying like when I say where's the data, or when you're asking me where's the data, that's the data of what they did. It doesn't have to be numbers necessarily.
How do you know that's pure?
You don't. You always have to
Does
be
the
skeptical.
Republic does somebody from the Republican part of that house get to be able to stand up and speak their side?
Yeah, they have Twitter. Yeah.
No, they don't.
Wait. What do you mean?
I'm using your Biden example
Yeah.
that he was able to stand up and give reasoning
Yeah.
of why the immigration bill did not come through because of Republicans.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, does somebody from the Republican House that's making this vote against Biden's immigration bill
Yeah.
get to stand up and give their side of why his bill was not proper or why it wasn't right?
Yeah.
Where? Where publicly do they get to do that?
Twitter. They can call conferences. They can wait. Do you think that? Wait. So like,
Who else stands up besides the fucking president?
Like Marjorie Taylor Greene, you're saying?
Who else stands up besides the president?
What do you mean?
On any conference,
who stands up?
On any conference, who else stands up there and gives answers?
Why does it matter about the conference?
Because there's no other way to get the data. There's no other way to get the answer from the. I don't care if it's Republican or Democrat. You keep utilizing the example against Biden. I don't care.
Well, I'm just trying to use a real life example because it's easier for me to latch onto.
Okay, we can latch onto this one then. Why doesn't anybody from any part of the Republican side of any house have the right to stand up and give their reasoning in the same exact speech at that moment to understand why both parties don't agree on this bill?
Like while Biden's talking?
Well, he can finish, and somebody else could stand up.
I don't know.
It's an interview.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So why this is an interview at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So why can't somebody be already there that is a House representative, speaker, to be able to talk from the Republican or the Democratic side against something?
Well, those are debates.
Right? That's only presidential.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know me, I love debates. I would definitely encourage more debates. Like if we can have like publicized, like where everybody, 100%, everybody should be talking about everything.
That's not what you're not latching onto what I'm asking you.
Sorry.
Biden stands up. It's only Biden's answer that he gives.
Yeah.
Nobody from the Republican House can stand up and give the reason of why they disagreed with his bill.
Yeah, right then.
Right.
Yeah, but they can on social media.
They don't. They never have.
Well, then that's their choice. They can. Why don't they? Why don't they? Why don't they go?
Why doesn't anybody?
They do. People go on Twitter and say like this is a stupid bill, and they give their reasons why, and they're vocal and they're like pumping
from the House.
Yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene, fucking the Matt dude. I forget his last name. The dude who was getting looked at for pedophilic stuff. Yeah. Like they're outspoken. Like what do you like with the whole thing with the first speaker? Like they spoke up. They were like, we don't want this to happen. They were like, we don't want to work with Democrats. He worked with Democrats, so he said, all right, you're out. Well, they didn't want Mike Johnson necessarily, but like they wanted someone new. Like people speak up. It's just not like in that time when Joe Biden's doing the interview.
And I'm just using this as an example of why don't we do that? Would that not make you feel more comfortable at the end of that interview?
Yeah, 100%.
Doesn't matter what side of the party.
As long as it's
I don't care.
As long as it's genuine, but like it's hard to ask for that. But
well,
like I just don't want the spin room. But obviously it's like it's politics, so it comes with the territory.
Well, I don't want to use.
I want someone to like
Trump
autistically
Biden
sit there and be like, "This is the
when
facts, and this is like the fact checking, and like here's like what he said that was wrong." I would love that.
Yes, when Biden stands up and says, "This is what we tried to do.
Yeah.
Here's the steps we did it," and then somebody from the Republican House that's a speaker can come up and stand up and say, "Out of Section 1.3.5, this is what we didn't like. Out of Section 9.4.78, this is what we didn't like."
Oh my god, I would love that. That would be
sweet.
Well, right.
Oh my god.
But would that
sounds so
not
great.
make you feel more comfortable across the board?
Yeah.
I don't care what side you're on.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. It's good conversation for me now.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I think everybody's similar to this, though. You get all fired up over, I'm a Republican, I'm a Democrat, and fuck you for that. I don't give a shit at the end of the day. You vote your way, I'll vote my way. At the end of the day, nothing helps anybody out. Nothing. My life is no better with Trump nor Biden. But my prices for my groceries have definitely gone up since Biden's been in. They weren't up when Trump was in. And they weren't up before the last president, and the last president, and the last president, and the last president.
You know what happened during that time before?
I'd love to hear it.
The whole like pandemic thing that happened where we had to like pour money into the
Why did we?
because we had to stimulate the economy because we were expecting people to stay home, and how are they going to be expected to stay home and not work and not be making money? So we had to pour it into it.
And
So
then-
why does France run okay? They work a
Everybody has
30-hour week.
Like I'm pretty sure Europe has like
I'm saying France specifically.
yeah, but like Europe is dealing with more inflation than us right now. I'm pretty sure like with our
I'm saying
inflation.
France specifically.
Okay, what was your question? And relating it to
why can everybody
inflation?
in France only work for 30 hours a week, get 6 months paternity leave,
Because it's
and
fucking
have all
France.
their bills paid?
Because that's the most liberal fucking society that currently exists.
Where do they
And
get all the money from?
What do you mean? Where do they get the money from?
Where does all that money come from so people can do these things to be able to pay for people?
I don't like where you're trying to lead me right now. I feel like there's so many routes that I
Let's
feel like
move to France.
100%.
You're asking where
La
they get the money. I'm
Fire.
assuming.
Frenchie.
Oh, okay. All right. I trust it a little bit now.
I don't speak it, but I know a lot of facts about it. I look up the economy often because it's like, man, it's a pretty good deal.
I mean, I'm assuming they get their money from like, taxing their people, doing good trading, like in
Good
like
business.
like economics 101 with comparative trading solutions and things like
Yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm.
And they also demand rights. So if you're asking like why they get 30-hour work weeks, it's because like when France wants things, they fucking take it. And they're just like,
And
we're
it
going to
works.
protest and like, and they demand it. Yeah.
So the dollars came from somewhere. So I don't give a shit if there's a pandemic or not. Their dollars magically came from somewhere. We can magically write billions of dollars of checks to
Yeah.
Russia and everybody else at any other point.
Yeah.
But we can't magically make it through a pandemic that might last 6 months, might last a year,
what are you
might last
supposed to
2
do?
years.
What are you supposed to do?
If we can write all these billions of dollars of checks to
Yeah.
countries that we shouldn't be doing it to, why can't we write that check to billions of people in this country?
Because if you put more, that's literally the one thing you do to make inflation worse is to give the people more money.
But that's what we did anyway.
Yeah, because we had to.
We
Because-
didn't have
because
to.
if we didn't, we would like our economy would have halted.
We didn't do it in 08.
That wasn't a pandemic. We could still work. Like there was jobs that were lost, but yeah, a lot of people lost their job. We didn't have the type of because we were able to help stimulate the economy. We didn't have the crazy recession that we had that was similar to 2008. We're not in a recession. They keep like
That damn near is a recession.
It's not though. It's inflation. There's
If you can't have people work,
people are working. The job numbers are well. I think the latest job numbers were down slightly from what was expected, but like we're not doing like bad. We're just not doing like our jobs are fine.
if
It's
you're
the
a company
inflation.
that didn't have computers and didn't make billions of dollars or millions of dollars or just under $1 million a year to be able to pay for your employees to have their own computers and own IT
Yeah.
departments and everything else,
Yeah, you-
how do you work from home?
you get your business loan from the government, and
How are you going to pay it back?
I thought it was
Bullshit. See, this is where we're going to rant
We
off.
could have stimulated the economy by
okay.
letting
Even if it's
everybody
not
work.
like yeah, it sucks. Like a pandemic is going to bring
Go the
hardship.
fuck to work. People die. People die.
Okay, but you would have more people die, and it's not because
There's
COVID
nothing wrong with that.
I'm not.
A lot of dumb people need to die.
Okay, well that's a whole nother topic. That's a whole nother
But then
topic.
they stimulated the economy.
But
everybody
you-
got paid.
but the whole
and
thing-
they bought brand new cars, and now they can't afford them.
Right.
But like the whole thing with
Because
COVID,
they were getting fat checks.
it was like
And now the bank holds on to it because nobody's paying for it. So it ruined the economy even more.
well, it raised inflation because people had to survive. We didn't know how much money people needed. That's why we had to keep giving stimulus checks. Like kept people afloat. That's why like with the child tax credit, like we were able to help like a lot of kids like being able to provide money and allocate money for people with young kids or kids in general to be able like giving them an extra however much a month. Like that helped a lot. Like
How
that-
did it help?
because if
You're still working, you said.
if you're still you don't think like an extra $300 to someone that's like barely making who's like barely at minimum wage, you don't think an extra $300 a month helps per kid?
It helped
That
now.
has nothing to do with it.
What do you mean?
COVID happened and they wanted people to work from home. So during a recession, you
Not
lose
a-
jobs.
yeah, but
during
not
a
everybody-
pandemic, you worked from home.
You can't-
because we're in a technological world.
Yeah.
So why do we now magically have to give people more money? They're not spending it on fuel. They're not spending it on insurance if they really don't want
Wait.
to. They're not spending it on tolls.
You know, people got like furloughed. Obviously, people like stopped-
Furlough,
Yeah,
right? They
yeah,
got
yeah.
paid.
Okay, sorry, not furloughed. You had people. Well, they did get furloughed, but you had people that like they either got fired, they weren't able to sustain themselves. You're
So
just
is that not a recession?
you can prevent a recession if you're able to give them the money to sustain themselves. But the negative externality from that is going to be you're going to have to deal with inflation once everything cools down.
Yeah, so
That's the
why-
same
I
way
would-
we are with the pandemic.
I would much rather deal with what we're dealing with right now than even the things that I remember as an 11-year-old in 2008. Like I remember the stress that came.
I was in the working world.
Yeah.
I was 18 years old.
Yeah, but, like, I was-
Everybody in my house lost their jobs during
Yeah,
this.
I would much rather deal with like higher prices, but people having jobs and like being able, even if it's like not staying afloat to where they want it to, they're still able to because like wages have gone up too. Like I would much rather have this outcome than a recession because this isn't a recession. Like just not by like the fucking definition.
You're right, it's not a recession because we just keep handing out money where we didn't do that in a recession.
Well, we're not handing.
If
out.
you didn't pay for your mortgage, you lost
Where
your
we-
house.
who are we handing out money to?
Everybody. You just said it.
I said
everybody
during-
got checks.
yeah.
Literally just said it. Everybody got checks.
Sorry.
Still to this day, people are still getting fat fucking stupid checks for no goddamn reason.
Well, okay, and that's what I was just asking. I wasn't asking about before when I was talking about the past. You're saying doing as in current sense, or not doing, like they're currently getting money. I'm asking who is currently getting money. That's
there's still the credit checks that are going out.
The child, no,
Yeah.
I don't think they extended that.
They just put another bill in to try and pass another one.
They're trying to pass it but Republicans, I'm pretty sure, keep stalling it
Good.
in the House. Yeah, but so they're not getting money. So where are they getting this money? Who's getting money?
Okay, there's no stimulus anymore, right?
No,
So okay,
there's no pandemic related.
Did you get a stimulus?
no,
You didn't get a stimulus check during COVID?
the $600.
Well, you should have been over that.
I got
I
1,200.
worked.
You still got
Yeah,
stimulus.
you still
checks.
got.
Oh yeah, I did.
Right.
So
You got
so
extra because you got
was
two
the-
kids, right?
Was the $1,200 worth it though?
Yeah.
Was it worth it?
Ye-
In the moment,
That
you
helped
got the
me
1,200,
immensely.
but now
How?
I was
You're
a-
still working.
I was a broke college student working. I was doing full time at a university, working 25 to 30 hours in Burger King, trying to pay for my own apartment. You think that I can?
But
do
how did
that?
it change between before COVID, during COVID, to after COVID, of you not being able to afford the apartment before COVID? Now magically you're still working at Burger King and you still can't afford the apartment.
No, I'm
That's
not.
your own fault.
I'm saying that. Wait, what do you mean? That's my. I'm work. I can't get a good job. I'm in school. What job can I get that could like help me sustain and like not need any amount of checks or any help from anybody or any family? What job can I get as a full time college student that would help me do that?
You're telling me all of COVID, nobody was hiring.
I was working. Yeah,
Yeah.
but that amount of
Am
money.
I misunderstanding this?
I'm saying he asked who did it help. I'm saying it helped me. $1,200 to like a broke college student that's barely getting by every month. That was great. That helped me.
Okay, but why did we need to give it out if you were in the same shoes before the pandemic as you are during the pandemic?
Because not everybody was in the same shoes. People weren't working.
Same thing with 08, nobody got a fucking check.
Okay, I'm sorry that like that you had fucking Bush there. You had and he didn't fucking do it.
Okay, but it also didn't affect our
What it-
fucking country for the next 15 years.
because the recession already fucking happened. It was already too late. Like we were already in the shit.
yeah,
So you can't just like you can't.
we're
just keep-
still in the shit with COVID. It's 2 years old.
Okay, but we didn't go into the recession. If you go into the recession, you can't then just say, okay, we're going to give everybody money now, because then that's just going to make more inflation. You're already combating inflation when you're dealing with a recession. But if you're not, because like in a recession, you deal with inflation. Sometimes it's not a mandatory thing. But when you're dealing with just inflation, that doesn't mean you're dealing with all the things from an actual recession. You treat them differently. You treat a recession, once you're in a recession, differently than like, well, we have multiple months to try to fight this off, because it's not like it just fucking happened like that. I'm pretty sure 08 happened in what? The fucking market went down in like 3 days, if that.
Mm-hmm. That's just a
COVID.
bad.
COVID was fucking, yeah, exactly. It was a very long time. We saw it coming because it was something that was like, okay, well, we've
we
been giving
didn't.
a lot. Wait, what do you mean?
we
Like,
didn't.
wait, so if I go back and I Google and I try to Google like articles of economists saying, hey, in 2020, or like in the year 2020, there weren't economists saying, hey, in like 2021, 2022, 2023, in the coming years, because of all the money that we're giving, we have to pay this back. You don't think there's not a single economist that was like blaring off saying like, hey, we have to make sure that we don't give people too much money, because like we have to pay this back. We can't just keep giving people money. What happens when you do that?
When it
Inflation.
started, yeah.
Yeah. So
We were already in COVID. You're
Yeah.
saying that the recession didn't just happen, but
Right.
then you rightfully admitted that it happened in 3 days.
It-
COVID
in 08
just happened.
Yeah, but the
It didn't just magically take
But the
6 months
economy-
to.
yeah,
it didn't
exactly.
magically just come 6 months later and say, "Hey, I'm COVID."
Exactly.
Like it. This happened
quick.
within 3-4 days a week.
Yeah.
That poof.
Yeah.
Everybody's got COVID.
But we didn't go into a recession from it. Did we go into a recession from
No.
it? No.
But why
Because
are we
it was-
writing the checks? If you're in the same shoes as a broke Burger King fuckstick sitting there flipping burgers, then you go into COVID,
We
you're
put 'em in a
still doing
broiler.
the same thing.
We don't flip burgers.
Then,
we
then
broil
you're still
them.
doing the same thing during COVID. Why do you magically now get a check?
Because you want to encourage people to stay home, because you don't necessarily want them working.
Can you serve a cheeseburger from
Wait,
your
wait,
house?
Just let me finish. You don't want them working because not everybody. You want like essential workers to work, and those ones you still want to make sure that they're getting extra money because it's shit times, and you want to make sure that they get what they need. But you don't want everybody working, because if everybody's at work, because not everybody's set up to do like the work from home. If you have more people at work, you're going to get people that end up getting more sick. That doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have more COVID deaths. I would argue it, but I'm not going to make that argument right now. But what would happen is you're going to 100% have more people in hospitals. What happens when you have more people in hospitals? You have less hospital beds. What happens when you have less hospital beds? You get excess deaths. If you have a whole ICU unit filled up with people that aren't maybe necessarily going to die from COVID, but they need a respirator, they need all that shit, and now you have someone else coming in who's having a heart attack, or they need that hospital bed. Sorry.
You're still not answering my question of why we wrote out checks.
Because I literally said because you need people to stay home. You incentivize them to stay home because you don't want them to go to work. If they go to work, they go to a hospital. If they go to a hospital, we have access desks because there's more hospital beds being taken.
Were majority of people still working during COVID?
Yeah.
Were majority of people still
But it was
working?
significantly less than like a year prior.
Well, no shit.
Yeah, and that's gonna if you take out like 10% of a workforce, your fucking economy is gonna come to a pretty big fucking hole.
So why couldn't you just up unemployment?
What do you mean up on it? Wait, what do you mean? Like just have more people that don't have
couldn't
jobs?
you just give everybody $10 extra on their unemployment check? Because that'll come out more than what the stimulus check paid out to at the end of the year.
If you're still advocating for giving people money, I'm always going to advocate for that in a situation like that. So yeah, if you feel like that's better and it's going to create more good, fucking do it. Yeah.
I'm not saying it's going to create. It doesn't create more good actually at the end of the day. But
then why would you do it?
I'm just bringing it up.
Yeah. Because I think that the COVID
rather than me just yelling at you again.
Yeah.
I'm just bringing up another stupid idea.
Well, if you're asking me,
the
like,
leftist side comes up with,
if it does like help people, then fucking do it. Okay. That's what I'm about.
But majority of people still worked during COVID.
Yeah, but it was less than before COVID.
No shit.
Yeah, I'm just
because we forced people to work from home.
Why?
But the company forced.
Why?
Well, I don't know why.
I just explained.
No. That's a poor explanation in my eyes. To me,
why?
My view.
Well, what's wrong with that?
Everything.
Why?
Because you still had to flip a burger.
Yeah.
Okay, broil burger.
There's essential
broil
workers,
burger.
Yeah,
how's that essential? Do you really need fast food in America?
Not
Everybody's obese in this fucking
country. Not necessarily.
Country.
I'm not.
Okay,
I'm not
going to
make
essential worker in my eyes.
Okay, that's fine. But like from the government's eyes, I was, and because I don't like
because they like fat people because then it keeps the hospitals running and it keeps everybody getting pills and everything else. That's the Democratic Party side of things. Because they're all bought into this shit.
See how Alex Jones you just went right there? See how how quick you just went?
Like it? So when you were in a Burger King broadcast and you got the stimulus,
what'd you do with it?
What did you do? Yeah. Where did it go?
It just went into my
savings.
Well, I didn't really have a savings. It was kind of like I was getting help. I was getting helped out by my grandma. Like she would pay a certain specific amount to help me with my rent because like working at Burger King, I can't do that.
So
which I was very obviously
COVID had nothing to do with it.
Well, COVID.
So how did COVID affect you while you were working at Burger King?
I'm not saying that COVID. Well, I mean it did, but like I'm not making that argument.
It didn't.
But how did it?
Well, you still had a job. You still got your check. The check was the same amount as it was prior to COVID.
COVID helped me in a lot of different ways. Like
that's not what he's asking you.
But like in an overall average, average of like the things that it did to the greater good, I don't think it helped.
COVID didn't have to happen for you to be happy about the $600, right?
Yeah, but I still would have been happy.
You didn't need the $600.
I did. I don't like relying on
it
people
all the time, but you really didn't need it because you still, like you said.
No, okay, sorry. No, you're right. I don't need it. It was very helpful to me in that moment.
It's helpful to everybody at any time.
And if it can be very helpful and it can create greater good,
how?
Because you want to keep people out of the hospitals. You want to incentivize them to not go to work, and so that way they don't get sick, so they don't go to hospitals, so that they don't take up hospital beds.
Everybody gets sick for this reason or another reason.
When you have like the most infectious and the most contagious fucking virus.
No, infectious. It was flu. I didn't die. Did you die?
Wait, okay. If the flu was putting...
I didn't get it.
You didn't get it?
No.
Why not?
I didn't get it.
Did you freaking
I was outside every day. I went to work every day. Never wore a mask.
He kept his social distance.
I didn't keep shit. I was drinking with everybody at the river. I was hanging out all summer long with anybody that wanted to hang out with. I went to work every day because I was on the road as a road technician. If that customer didn't require me to put a mask on or that manager, I didn't wear one. And I'd be just like this from anybody or even closer to have a conversation. All of COVID.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, but in their eyes, I'm asymptomatic.
So your $20,000 Equinox, you would have to pay $30,000 today. Was that $600 worth it?
I like that.
Was it worth it?
Well, that's kind of a false dichotomy. Like, because there's so much more that plays in. It wasn't like just because of the 600. It was because we had a global pandemic that
printed the money.
Wait. We have a global pandemic that.
Well, wait a minute. He's let you talk this whole time, and me. So why don't you let him finish his thought?
Okay, that's fine. I'm sorry.
The $600 that got printed, it devalued the dollar, right? Which made your car worth double.
Well, and there was also supply
So
chain.
now I have to
Wait, do you think it was just because of
Hang on.
Yeah, it's because the
You
stimulus.
can hit your point.
It's
You can
because
hit
of-
your point.
It's because of the stimulus.
I know where you're going. Let him finish it.
Okay.
Jesus Christ. Your $600 that you really didn't need
Mm-hmm.
because you were fine.
Mm-hmm.
Burgers still got flipped. You still live with your grandma.
I didn't. Okay. Sorry, I'm not.
If nobody get the stimulus check,
Mm-hmm.
this car wouldn't be double the price right now.
Mm-hmm.
But it is. So we're all worse off.
Okay. So how are you determining that me getting $600 is making my Chevy twice as much?
Because the money is it's worth less.
Yeah. And
600
what else?
times.
Whatever, billion.
What else?
1.2 billion.
What else do you think would contribute to? So wait, do you think if like we went into a recession, do you think that the car prices would be better? Do you think inflation would be better? Do you think we would be better off if we went into a recession? And then also we would if we didn't incentivize people to go home, I don't know how you'd have to explain to me how I would be wrong here, but how we wouldn't get more deaths by having more people go to work, because if we can just agree that more people are going to get sick, you can then agree that more people are going to go to hospitals, which then we can then agree more people are going to be taking up more beds. You
That's
have,
right.
by logically, you just have less
Makes sense.
beds. Even if there's less deaths from COVID, or not as, even if you don't have like a crazy increase of COVID deaths, you still have excess deaths.
But we don't agree that because he didn't die.
Mm-hmm. He doesn't need to die. He just needs to take up a
And I
hospital
didn't
bed.
die.
Yeah,
And you didn't die.
You just need to take up a hospital bed, and then
I didn't.
Okay, but you don't need. I'm not saying that you specifically. I'm saying in general. That's all that needs to happen in order for other deaths to potentially
Okay,
happen.
so at what age group is the highest personnel sitting in a hospital bed during COVID?
70 plus.
probably 50 plus,
Okay.
or maybe 40, but probably 50 plus.
Okay. 50 plus.
Yeah.
How many of those people probably had a previous health issue?
Probably a good amount.
Okay.
Because the dumbest burger.
Now, because whatever the fuck is in that meat. So, based upon those numbers, and we all agree on these numbers, right? The average person works till they're 65. So, we'll call it 65 and up.
Mm-hmm.
More people, those people wouldn't have been going to work anyway.
Okay.
So, if we all agree that 50 and up, and let's call the average lifespan to 90.
Whoa.
Agreeable?
90?
Okay.
85?
70.
Okay.
80?
70.
Which
I
one?
don't-
Which
I mean,
one you
it,
want?
It doesn't really matter.
Which one you want?
I just need to. I just need to hear the
67.
conclusion. I don't. It
67.
doesn't matter what the number is. I just need
Well,
to
it
hear
does
the
matter.
conclusion.
It does matter.
Well, not for my
because those people,
argument.
no. Okay, so from 65 to 80,
Huh.
they wouldn't go to work.
Yeah.
So
In a perfect
why
world,
are
yeah.
why are we still giving them a stimulus check and saying that nobody can go to work when none of those people would go to work? But that was majority of the people sitting in a hospital bed during COVID.
Well,
So they shouldn't have been going anywhere anyway.
Well, because
which we can agree on that we probably should have limited more people to stay home. So if you had a work from home job or availability to work from home kind of job, then work from home during this timeline. But if you have to go in, then you have to go in because you're essential. But if most people from 65 to 80 years old shouldn't have been working anyway, we'll call it a very minor percent are working till into their 70s because of whatever they fucked up during their life. What were they doing during COVID to not listen to the rules and regulations, and why were they taking up most of the beds?
wait, I'm confused. So you're saying that the people that
I'm glad you're confused from one of my conclusions here, because the entire time you've been talking, I have yet to find the conclusion.
Wait, you mean like my conclusion or your
No, no, no.
conclusion?
Most of your conclusions today, I haven't found the conclusion.
Oh, all right. I'll try to be more clear. Or maybe you're just not fucking understanding me. But, so you're saying that of all the the people that would majority be in the beds are going to be like probably 50 plus.
Mm-hmm.
If we agree on that, but like you still have people, you still have a good percentage of the workforce.
It's 15 years
Yeah.
to retirement. So 15 years worth of people. So 55 to 65.
Which is currently
Really-
right now the
really would
biggest,
have been-
the biggest generation in. They have the most amount of people. Like the 50s, the boomers have the most amount of people.
Well, boomers is a little bit later than that, but okay.
Well, yeah, but like they still have. It's
Boomers is
a high.
late
It's a
70s,
high
early
amount of
80s.
people. So like, I don't like. You still don't want people to get sick because like if you have more sickness, the higher rates of sickness, the more people. Even if it's like less, like even if it's more people and it's only going to affect like actually kill or put other people, like you're still going to have more people go. You don't want people to go into the hospital because you don't know necessarily what's going to happen. Because if this keeps going, then if you try to make a vaccine for a certain, what would they call them, that thread strain, if you had a certain, you made this vaccine for this strain, we don't know yet, like at that time, we don't know yet, like, is this only going to work for this? How is it going to be against another variant? Like, we don't know any of that. We know it could happen. So we want to eliminate the amount of people getting sick, because the more people that get sick, the more like just potential fuckery, I would say, is like, it's pretty exponential. Like the more people that get sick, it's not linear. Like the more people that get sick, the higher amount of bad will happen. And so then if you want to incentivize people to not,
I'm not disagreeing with
that's
you.
my conclusion, by the way. You want to prevent people from getting sick.
I got it now.
Okay.
There's your firewood.
That's my firewood.
Should we pause?
No, they just need to dump it. I just said dump it. Dump it.
We're going to hear it the entire time.
Yeah.
Good pee break.
We can pause.
And I can pour myself an old fashioned. We're going to pause. We will be back.